one film. It calls 1+1.
1+1. 1+1 movie.
1+1.
Wait, you're probably wondering why we're talking about 1+1 movie. Nowadays, the media's importance in influencing public opinion and understanding disability problems cannot be overestimated. Social media, television programs, and all other kinds of media are powerful forces for changing societal beliefs and views. The media's portrayal of individuals with disabilities has the ability to increase empathy and inclusiveness in our society. Our topic is, does media positively or negatively influence the perception of disabled people? This study seeks to comprehend how media portrayal of disabled people comprehend with the perception of disabled people in our society.
Nowadays, media representations are very powerful, and they are showing disabled people as petty and helpless. The way people with disabilities are portrayed in the media has an enormous impact on society's perception, and especially for those who do not interact personally with disabled people. According to United Nations 2023, after creating this kind of negative stereotypes, many people tend to feel fear, shame, embarrassment when interacting with disabled people.
Media can be a cause for discrimination between disabled and non-disabled people. In this case, people who make a decision on social media, such as journalists and social activists, are important in society because their opinion presented in social media affects on shaping public opinion about disabled people.
Showing disabled individuals in the media positively doesn't make attitudes better, but it also suggests that people are more aware and understanding, fostering empathy and reducing stereotypes about disabilities. This shows how media can have a big impact on how society sees and promote fairness. The influence of media representation on societal perceptions of individuals with disabilities dates back to its earliest portrayals, marked by a historical lack of authentic representation. Despite this, there has been notable progress over the years, with the first film featuring a disabled character serving as a noteworthy starting point in this evolution. From pioneering efforts to contemporary mass media production, the representation of individuals with disabilities has become more prevalent, nuanced, and impactful. So our primary argument is that media portrayal matters. Media plays a pivotal role in shaping perceptions of individuals with disabilities, either fostering empathy and understanding or perpetuating stigma and prejudice. An exemplary illustration of media transformative power is the first film ever that was representing disabled person. In 1989 film My Left Foot, directed by Jim Sheridan, which portrays the life of Christy Brown, an Irish artist with cerebral palsy. This cinematic milestone underscores the significant influence media can have on public perception of individuals with disabilities. My Left Foot serves as a touchstone in the discourse on media representation, demonstrating how a well-crafted portrayal can challenge stereotypes, contribute to a more nuanced understanding of the diverse experience within the disabled community. In contemporary times, the conversation around disability media has gained momentum. Positive portrayal have become more prevalent, and discussions about inclusivity and representation have expanded across various forms of mass media. Prominent films, television shows, and other media platforms now feature diverse and authentic depictions of individuals with disabilities, reflecting a grounding awareness and commitment to breaking down barriers. In our literature review, things that might be controversial to a lot of people, when it comes to showing people with disabilities on TV, they're almost never seen, and when they are, it is in a negative light, limiting opportunities for people with disabilities everywhere. Disability representation in media influence society's views on individuals with disabilities in our everyday lives. By having more accurate portrayals in movies and pop culture, the stigma surrounding disability may start to dissolve. However, nowadays we see a lot of negative representation of people with disabilities. For example, according to Hand in Hand, mainstream movie characters with disabilities are either portrayed as being tragic and depressed, or they exist only to further the narrative of the typically able-bodied main characters. Several examples, including Me Before You, a movie about a quirky woman who becomes the caretaker and the love interest of a wealthy banker paralyzed in an accident. The wealthy banker is portrayed as bitter, miserable man because he has a disability, sending a message that people with disabilities are incapable of living happy and successful lives. Here are some examples of people with disabilities who said their pain of representing them negatively. In the media, persons with disabilities are presented as extraordinary and unusual people. Each material traditionally begins with the phrase, "Despite his or her disability, this person has achieved something." Stop giving us the characteristic of lifelong heroes. Let us try to replace disability in this phrase with other words. It will turn out that despite the absence of 4 teeth, he was able to master computer literacy, or despite the absence of an appendix, she was able to create her own business. Said Askar Turtugulu, blogger and a member of the New Age Public Association, and activist for the rights of people with disabilities. Now, Hollywood has a long way to go in the way of disability representation. There are some films that feature more positive representation. Forrest Gump, Avatar, and the X-Men series all feature main characters with disabilities. Forrest Gump and Avatar use disability as a way for their audience to feel compassion toward this character and realize they're capable of significant accomplishments. The X-Men movies use both real disability, as Professor X paraplegia and Wolverine's post-traumatic stress disorder, and metaphorical disability in their stories. The mutant X-Men are stigmatized by the general public because their powers make them different. However, the message expressed in every movie can be summed up by Storm in X-Men: The Last Stand. They can't cure us. You want to know why? Because there is nothing to cure. Nothing's wrong with you, or any of us for that matter. Similarly, there is nothing wrong with individuals with disabilities or different needs. To conclude, researchers found out that many media use stereotypes about disabled people and hardly ever create something that represents them in a positive light. It may be a reason for strengthening stereotypes and creating obstacles for disabled people even more.
We have conducted our survey and interview and gathered valuable statistics. Firstly, we have asked how they can describe disability. For this question, many of them answered as mental and physical health problem, limitations in ability, and something inevitable and unblameable. The second one, how they feel comfortable themselves while interacting with disabled people. And for this question, 52.4% of them feel as normal as others. The third one, 85.7% participants have watched movies where disabled people were portrayed, and most of them felt proud, sad, pitiful, hard and terrible, and also neutral. 66.7% of them have changed their attitude toward disabled people, mostly in a positive way. We have asked if they think media portrayals is realistic. Here, their opinions are partially divided into two sides, yes and no. Most interestingly, 90% of our participants think that media portrayals positively affect the perception of the public. The last one, according to their opinion, 52.4% of them think that movies are the most powerful representation of disabled people.
In addition, we have conducted an interview with Botagoz, who has a fund called Бақытты отбасы, which helps families with disabled children. According to her opinion and experience, disability is a limitation of psychological and intellectual development. In addition, she mentions that there are not enough sources that portray disability on social media, but available sources give an opportunity to accept them positively and to take inspiration from their work. An interview said that films and news are main part of media portrayals of disabled people.
Research results. Comparing the internet survey and our research on disability perceptions, key figures emerge. In the internet survey, media used for disability learning scored 4 and 39 out of 7, with news sites 5 and 14 most used, and radio 3 and 92 least. In our research, movies top media use at 52 and 4%, while newspapers rank lowest at 4 and 75%. Comfort interacting with disabled individuals in our survey varied 52 and 4% as comfortable as with others, 38 and 1% neutral, and 9 and 5% expressed awkwardness. Regarding media portrayals, the internet survey rated American media as unrealistic, a 1.94 out of 7. Our research showed a divide. 47 and 6 believed it wasn't realistic, while 52 and 4 disagreed. Both highlight media's influence, with our research standing out for its positive attitude. A significant proportion express belief in positive representation, emphasizing the importance of diverse perspectives in understanding societal perceptions of disability.
Our research show a positive change in comprehension of media and disabled people that has lacking in the internet. When we conducted research, we did not find any survey or research about positive change. In our project, we found a lot of new information that might be helpful for further research. Our answer to research question, does media positively or negatively influence the perception of disabled people, is complicated. We found a lot of interesting correlations between media and the perception of disabled people. Many of people on the internet think that it negatively affects. However, our research showed the positive. We have to say that the media plays a huge role in shaping public perception, and it mostly depends on what kind of movies you watch. Based on our research in Kazakhstan and especially at KIMAP, media positively affect the perception of disabled people. Our work touch on different sides of our problem, but also in our work we carry out a lot of examples that can affect our society. For example, we have added comment from people with disabilities and what problems they face. Based on this information, a person who reads our work can draw their own conclusion and reduce their discomfort in everyday life. Else, our research might bring awareness in our society that might lead to a better understanding of disabled people. We believe that suggestion application will work in Kazakhstan because there is not a lot of information about disabled people, and it might be helpful for everyone to read our research since not a lot of people understand disabilities. It also can help reduce discrimination and bias toward disabled people in Kazakhstan. We may face some judgment, however, we believe that more people learn and more educated they get, the more our society becomes inclusive. We conduct our research only among KIMAP students. Because of this, we had a few interview people. We did a qualitative study of problem and found a lot of reliable and good information about it. We also interviewed a person who worked with disabled people, and she gave us relevant information about the situation in Kazakhstan. For people who will conduct research similar to ours, we suggest interviewing disabled people themselves about a movie and asking them more specific questions. Also, we would love to see a broader research in the future. In conclusion, we want to say that this research might be very helpful for a lot of people. It brings answerness, and anyone can read it to understand more about disabled people and the media influence on their perception of them.
Do you believe that the media can influence positively the public perception about disabled people?